problem, just admit it. Tired of us going through this cycle. Blaming others means you in denial. Situations getting dire, this is vital. So it's time for us to crack open the Bible and get back to the truth.
Yeah, I know you ain't gon' like it. Yeah, I know you ain't gon' like it.
Some of you ain't got a clue.
Heaven knows that I'm fighting. Heaven knows that I'm fighting.
Get them back to the truth.
A black liberal ain't nothing but a house Negro. I said it. I just said it. Drop the bomb. Boom. A black liberal ain't nothing but a house Negro.
See that nonsense stretching, venom in the comment sections. Off a limit, calling it progression. All you wanna do, follow deception, no direction. See the scope, it's the D and dope. Every argument will go past yours, and while they're feeding us like goats. See now, only gonna find the way truth into lie. Knowing about it, but taking two from the fight. Maybe you don't make it out doing right. They'll kill you and they will it suicide. Whistleblower, to some you're just a voter. Never wanted you to be a pistol holder. Every candidate been a joker. Oh no, sir.
Tired of us going through this cycle. Blaming others means you in denial. Situations getting dire, this is vital. So it's time for us to crack open the Bible and get back to the truth.
Yeah, I know you ain't gon' like it. Yeah, I know you ain't gon' like it.
Some of you ain't got a clue.
Heaven knows that I'm fighting. Heaven knows that I'm fighting.
Get them back to the truth.
Y'all so pressed but master to swear up and down that Black Lives Matter and that y'all need Master and Master need y'all. I don't need nothing from nobody. I got Jesus, baby.
Catch me walking through your hood just like I'm Kimberly Classic. It's time to face it, we fighting now for the next generation. Stop being basic, we at war, battle for all creation. The truth can align with any lie, no matter how you would place it. The son of man's like scatter flock, the kids people like pass a lot. Who preach the truth with no mask and not spread fear and hate for an aftershock. Millions lost cause the faith is shook, the pandemic threw a major hook. Just like the punch that Nader took, the sound alone is what made you look. For a place you can run to, safe from devils that will hunt you. Say you're not ready but he's on you, so please shine bright like the sun do. Ooh, wondering why many churches are closed. Illiberal policies going unopposed. Stand up in faith and the vanity goes. No progress I'm working but he already knows.
I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Yeah, here come that devil again. Must be a lib always meddling. He knows I ain't gon' let him in. I ain't a beta male, I ain't feminine. I got the medicine, I don't play. I ain't better than I won't sway. I lack melanin, I'm an elephant. I'ma tell the truth with no shame. Y'all think I'ma just fold. I'ma fight the fight, I won't roll. I'ma light the light and my light is bright cause I know that I'm not alone. I'm in my zone, he's on the throne. I'm not confused, he's on my dome. I ain't no rat, ain't no Democrat. I am a God, he never will cap, okay? Mask off and stop fearing. Grab a job and move your rear end. Take a look at my past, I was freaking. In fact, got my foot on the gas and he's steering. Whoa. Now when the devil talking, please don't run. Snatch that coward by the throat and tell him I'm with the sun. He'll leave you alone for a little, but he coming for you. Just put your faith in him, cause God could work wonders for you, okay?
And I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Yeah. He's working wonders now. No wonder it's working out. Previously tongue-tied when it comes time to speak up for what I deserve. Back when I couldn't find the words. In this life I learned if I observe, then I'll discern the lies they hide behind the curtains. In the circus to define the word that's in verse where I find the courage. And when I am heard, I'll be sure that my pride is earned. Picture Reese sitting in a scene where he didn't speak. Everybody looking at him like kid's a freak. Literally paralyzed by history. Perpetuated in defeat, but in retreat. See, he turned his weakness to his Herculean words served to ensure his freedom. And the shackles that bound him converted in purpose. A purse down beneath him observing the beacon. Picture me spitting this flow to the masses. Before I'd have thrown up this glow up is drastic. We put our soul in this, but never sold for this. Trevor and Topher, no holding us captive. Devil's been known to control us with tactics. Motives exposing and focus the faction. We put our soul in this, but never sold for this. Trevor and Topher, you know it's a classic.
When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put the words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't wanna.
Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. I am one of the two kings of the Rube Empire, the Philosopher King,
The Ivory Tower.
the Ivory Tower, the Mad Scientist Matt, and with me, the Kick-Ass Duke.
That's right. I'm still here, kicking ass and taking names. So,
Okay, so welcome back. Good to see you again. What'd you say?
we have a show for you tonight.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting topic. It's a topic that interests me greatly. It's also as dystopian as it gets. Like,
Now,
it doesn't get much more dystopian than this.
Don't get cryptic with them. Just lay it out on the line.
Yep. The title. This is episode 190.
Ooh, yeah, getting close to that 200.
Yep. The Fed is looking into. Let's see. This is from an article in the Washington Street Journal. The Fed prepares to launch review of possible central bank digital currency. Yay! I need to get that audio clip of the kids, clapping and saying yay.
Or we could
you
get
see everywhere.
The Monty Python. And there was much rejoicing in the land. Yay. Either one would be good.
I'll start off as usual by reading the article.
Okay.
The Federal Reserve plans as early as this week to launch a review of the potential benefits and risks of issuing a U.S. digital currency, as central banks around the world experiment with the potential new form of money. Oh joy. Fed officials are divided on the matter, making it unlikely they will decide anytime soon on whether to create a digital dollar. Unlike private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, a Fed version would be and private. Let's be clear. This is not private like a business is private.
No.
Bitcoin is public.
Yes.
It's as public as it gets. it's decentralized. Nobody owns it.
No government can
A
control
dude
them.
named Satoshi started it. The community is what, moves it. And there's arguments about, well, the people, the largest holders, the super rich who hold a ton, make all the decisions. Okay. True. I mean, there's truth to that, but it's not anything close to what we're talking about right here. Anyway, a Fed version would be issued by and backed by the U.S. Central Bank, a government entity, as are U.S. paper dollar bills, and coins. Advocates say a Fed digital dollar can make it faster and cheaper to move money around the financial system. True.
Yes.
Bring into it people who lack bank accounts. True. And provide an efficient way for the government to distribute financial aid. I mean, true, I guess. That is true. But is that something we want? No. Another motivating consideration, keeping up with other major jurisdictions, considering a digital currency for domestic and international payments. Fed Gov Lael Brainerd said in remarks before the National Association for Business Economics on September 27th. Quote, "It's just very hard for me to imagine that the U.S., given the status of the dollar as a dominant currency in international payments, wouldn't come to the table in that circumstance with a similar kind of an offering." So basically, as other countries go this way, the U.S. is going to be motivated to do this. What's interesting is El Salvador, I believe. Pretty sure it's El Salvador. Is now Bitcoin is an official currency of El Salvador.
There's another country that is experimenting in a stable coin as a digital currency. They've completely switched over. They don't really use any paper money anymore.
Gotcha.
And I remember which one it was. It's island nation, not a big one.
Gotcha. However, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell has indicated he sees reason for caution. He said last month it is more important to get the digital dollar right than to be first to market, in part because of the dollar's critical global role. He and other Fed officials have said the Fed's research is early and exploratory. Okay. That's
early.
true. Government does move at the pace of, a snail that's high on, marijuana or something like that, But it depends on what it is,
Yes.
We're talking about the Fed. The Fed is not the government.
No.
As well. The Fed is, the globalists. It's the globalist American banking empire, the gay empire, as Elijah Schaefer calls it, the GAE, globalist American empire. I think it's more of a China-based empire, is what they're looking for in the future, but he said at a September 22nd press conference that they would only consider issuing a so-called central bank digital currency, or CBDC, if they believed there were clear, intangible benefits that outweigh any costs and risks. We all know what those clear, intangible benefits are. Mr. Powell has pointed to other challenges, noting many Americans actively use and prefer cash. He also said there are privacy issues that would need to be addressed, since a Fed CBDC system would in actuality, allow the central bank to see what every user did with the currency.
Correct.
Yes. That's problem number one.
And probably the largest.
Well, probably. I don't know if this is true, that we might be able to conceive of some other problems that don't do what I'm about to say, but it seems to me that most every problem that we're going to talk about will stem from this singular initial issue. Quote, "It's our obligation to do the work both on technology and on public policy to form a basis for making an informed decision," he said last month. Randall Quarles, the central bank's point man on financial regulation, has voiced more skepticism about the need for a Fed digital currency. He said this summer that the U.S. dollar is already highly digitized and expressed doubts that a Fed CBDC would help draw people without bank accounts into the financial system, a goal that can be accomplished through other means, he said. "Before we get carried away with the novelty, I think we need to subject the promises of a CBDC to a careful critical analysis," he said, speaking at an event hosted by the Utah Bankers Association. A Philadelphia Fed report warned that a U.S. central bank CBDC could destabilize the financial system. They're already trying to destabilize the financial system. This will be the solution. In a crisis, if people pull their money out of banks, mutual funds, stocks, and other investments and plow it into the Fed's ultra-safe currency. Some banks facing the prospect of competition from the Fed for deposits have already signaled they don't believe it has the legal authority to issue a digital currency without authorization from Congress. The Fed plans to launch the review by releasing a paper analyzing the issue and seeking public comment, but it is unlikely to include a firm policy recommendation. Next, the Boston Fed, working with researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, is expected to release a more technical paper outlining how a digital dollar might work. In theory, a Fed digital dollar could be used alongside traditional paper money, but many of the details of how exactly people would access digital dollars and how they would fit into the financial system are unclear. For instance, the Fed would have to decide whether consumers would access their digital dollars with accounts directly at the central bank or through existing commercial lenders, said Richard Levin, chair of the FinTech and Regulation Practice at Nelson Mullins Riley and Scarborough LLP. And, it's almost over. Some advocates say CBDCs could help improve the effectiveness of monetary policy by allowing a central bank to change interest rates directly on accounts holding CBDCs. This could allow central banks to bypass often fickle financial markets and bring monetary policy right to the retail level. But yes, that could happen, but that's not a good thing.
No.
That's not a good thing.
Yes.
The Fed paper comes as central banks around the world contend with the rise of numerous private electronic alternatives to traditional money and weigh creating their own versions. Private offerings of digital currencies have been extremely volatile. Yeah, because they're new.
Yeah.
Because this is a new thing. And there's a million of them. And but over time, Bitcoin has done nothing but this. Straight up into the heavens. All right?
With occasional dips, but for the most part, straight up.
Yeah. I'm saying over time.
Yes.
It dips, sure. Big dips. But if you had nobody who held on to Bitcoin that they bought from the very beginning is regretting it.
No.
Nobody.
Well, yes, one person. The guy that spent 200 Bitcoins on a pizza.
He didn't hold on to it. That's what I'm saying. He didn't hold on to it. He's regretting it because he didn't hold on to it. The pizza owner who took it is like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Unless he immediately turned it around into dollars. Anyway,
Probably.
Been extremely, and in many cases have been associated. So private offerings of digital currencies have been extremely volatile, and in many cases have been associated with criminal activities and have so far failed to be adopted widely for daily transactions. But that's coming. It's coming with Bitcoin. I already have an app on my phone that you can send me Satoshis. You can send me Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I can have a product. You can download the app, scan my QR code, and send me money from your account instantaneously. Yep. And then you can have it so that let's say you were in Europe and you needed cash. I could take my dollars, transform them into Bitcoin, send them to you immediately, and you get them and transform them into whatever currency you're at.
And it's faster than Western Union.
Way faster. It's almost instant.
Yep. So
It's happening, people. Bitcoin is light years ahead of this.
Yes.
But we still need to be aware of this. Such as for buying groceries or movie tickets. I remember years ago, though, like 5 or 6 years ago, I'd say. Don't quote me on that, but a few years ago at least, hearing about some apartment companies that own apartment complexes allowing you to pay rent in Bitcoin.
Yes. Well,
that's not
with the Cash App now. I have the Cash App. I can buy Bitcoin with it and transact with it.
You can do that on PayPal too.
Yeah. So the fact that you can't use it on a daily basis is not true, because you can do it on a daily basis.
Yeah, you might lose in conversion and stuff,
And then Bitcoin back to cash. That's all it is.
Last paragraph. China created its own government-issued digital currency earlier this year. And the people rejoiced.
Yeah.
And recently prohibited transactions using cryptocurrencies issued by non-monetary authorities, naming Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether, which I'm not familiar with, as examples. El Salvador, meanwhile, became the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as a national currency alongside the US dollar.
There you go.
So China is doing what America will probably do.
Yep. Do you think America will block Bitcoin?
They'll want to.
Yeah, because it's direct competition.
And depending on how they erode our liberties, they may just do it. Which means that we'll all move to El Salvador, or national divorce, and we say, screw you.
Yeah.
Let's go, Brandon.
I can honestly
Have you seen
see.
That?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so there's a NASCAR race, right? And I guess the guy who won, his name was Brandon, right? Or at least they were they were interviewing one of the racers. This woman was interviewing him, on television. And and the crowd, and during the interview, the crowd starts chanting "F Joe Biden," right? And she tries to play it off. Instead of ignoring it, she tries to play it off as if they're saying, "Let's go, Brandon," the guy she's talking to.
Yeah.
And so now their shirts, everybody's selling a shirt that says, "Let's go, Brandon."
Instead of the F Joe Biden.
This is the the hidden signal,
Yeah, the hidden signal that I see, I got you. Yeah.
Yes, let's go, Brandon. And Brandon's the world over. Rejoice. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna read one more. I'm not gonna read one more article, but there was another article that Michael Malice tweeted from the Telegraph, and leading anarchist thinker. Bank of England tells ministers to intervene on digital currency programming. Digital cash could be programmed to ensure it is only spent on essentials or goods which an employer or government deems to be sensible. So now we've framed the discussion. What is that Wall Street Journal article? Because it seems like it's pretty fair, and it seems like the Fed is really being thoughtful, right?
Yeah, just like Facebook was.
Mm-hmm. This is what's known as pre-programming.
Yes.
They're preparing the way. They're letting it be known that they're looking into it. Right? Looking into it. But obviously the people in charge are being really thoughtful about this. So we can all rest assured that when they do, if and when, and it's not a big if, it's a very, very, very tiny if.
It's more
And
when.
A giant when.
Yes.
If and when they do come out with a digital currency, we'll know that they have put the necessary thought and really considered the freedoms of Americans, and just the public policy that is best for us all into this digital currency.
How can they take more freedom and in the biggest chunk possible, which is our ability to spend our dollar in the way we see fit?
Mm-hmm. You thought you thought the withholding tax was bad.
Oh no, that's chump change compared to this. However, I'm still just as upset as that. No, this is a bigger deal. I mean, when they start going, listen, we don't really like it, the fact you're supporting these conservative people. You can't spend your money there anymore. Boom, that entire business is done. Whatever business it is. If they don't like a certain thing, you can't spend your money there.
Yeah. Well, let's just look at what the banks themselves have done with the gun industry. Do you?
Oh, yeah.
I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember when the banks decided that they would no longer give loans. The big banks decided they would no longer give loans to companies that make guns.
Yep.
This is that to the nth degree.
Or did you
they're
hear?
going to. You want to buy a gun? Oh no! We don't. No.
Nope.
Or if you're gonna do that, we're gonna immediately tax you considerably for that purchase. Deep State says digital cash is unregulated. Large conglomerate banks are safe. Well, it's not even that. I would say that the large conglomerate banks probably a little upset about this because with a digital currency issued by the Fed, there's no need for them.
No.
The hedge funds and the stock markets and, that industry will be fine. But what purpose does the bank have except as a lender?
Yeah.
Which is mainly, but like us storing, we won't need to store our digital currency with them. It's tied to a hash code,
Deep State, I love it.
Does Bitcoin
cash back on every purchase? Does it?
It does not. No, it does not give you cash back on every purchase.
Hold on there. Not with every purchase, but just by holding on to it, it does give you cash back because it increases in value.
Yes, on that rocket ship of growth that it doesn't seem to want to get off.
Right?
Yeah.
So, getting back to the Fed, though, what point would the banks have? Because if all of a sudden we moved all of our money from storing it at the banks no longer have that cash in order to invest to grow their interest rates. Because a lot of their money doesn't come from the loans. It comes from the interest on the money in their coffers.
True. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a big detriment to the big banks. I think they'd have to just change up their strategy, and it would
offer higher interest rates.
They would become a lending only deal, basically.
Yeah. And what do you think the interest rate would do? All of a sudden they'd go up because they'd have to make up their money somehow.
For sure. Or it would either go up considerably, or they would there would be less lending.
Probably both.
So yeah, some combination of both. And your local banks and your credit unions, those are history. Those are gone. Forget about those. Those don't exist anymore. And I'm okay with that. Bitcoin is a technology that it's a destructive technology. You know?
Well, it's not a destructive technology. It's
no, sure it is.
It's a changing evolution of what we currently understand as money. Here's the thing.
Yeah, but that's what a destructive technology is. You know, it destroys the old and makes way for the new. You know,
it's like VHS. VHS destroyed live television because all of a sudden you can go back and watch it again.
Well, or not even that. Netflix destroyed.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's destroying cable. The internet destroyed newspapers and magazines.
Yep.
You know, and the blockchain is going to destroy banking.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Genesis block of Bitcoin, it lays out its stated purpose is to destroy the centralized banks.
Yes.
Which is a good thing. Like, we can lament and cry about our credit unions and our local banks, and maybe they can survive by, you know, transforming into lenders or whatever. You know, basically they'll become payday loan places, you know, Amscots or something like that, you know.
You'd lose the brick and mortar. They'll disappear. You won't see your local banks anymore. You won't see actual brick and mortar banks.
Yeah.
It'll
be Rocket loans and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin is decentralized.
Yes.
Nobody owns it. Nobody is programming it to, you know, automatically tax you or to restrict what you can purchase.
Yes.
You know?
Like
nobody has that power.
Did you hear what Discover did earlier this year?
No.
You cannot buy a firearm with a Discover card.
I think I did hear something like that.
Purchases with Discover cards. You cannot buy a gun with it. Which
F these people, man. These people.
So, but
I can't.
You can use a Bitcoin to buy a gun.
Disruptive, yeah. Deep State says disruptive is the term you want. I think destructive is equally. It's definitely disruptive. It disrupts the normal flow, but I think it's destructive too. It does end up being the death knell for the old, you know. Anyway,
well, the car was for the horse and carriage. The plane was for boats.
Yeah.
Each time there's been a leap in technology, there's been a shift, and now pretty much the only thing you do in a boat is ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only
cruise.
Goods.
You ship or you cruise.
Yeah, that's it.
Man, cruises are awesome.
I've never been on one, so I don't know.
I've been on 2, both Disney cruises. It's excellent.
Okay.
So, the beauty of a cruise. So, like, okay, let's say we're gonna go to Paris and see the sights. You know, Awesome, that's fun, no doubt. But especially if you're not on like a pre-planned tour with a guide and all that, you're doing everything. You know, and you're waking up early to get to the sites so that you can get there and enjoy it, and you're go the whole time.
Yeah.
So that when you get back from your vacation, you need a vacation, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. With a cruise, you are responsible for nothing except how you smell, how you dress, and you actually do have to shovel all that food into your mouth. Everything else is provided, and it's awesome. What's that?
Lazy man's holiday.
Yeah, man. It's all your responsibilities you leave at the shore. You know, unless you bring your kids with you, then of course, you know, you're responsible for your kids, but it's still, even then, significantly different than your normal day to day. It's fantastic.
So, getting back to the decentralizing of the banking, by centralizing it even more, um, this U.S. digital currency, what it'll also do is allow the U.S. government to watch every single purchase that everyone does in the United States. So currently, they can kind of take a look at the money in the United States and see a very macro view of how it's being spent and moved and things like that. This would allow them to
And they get notified. Well, and they get notified if you spend over a certain amount.
Yes.
Because they're hunting terrorists and drug dealers, you know. Yeah, exactly.
Now, this would allow them to track every last cent being moved anywhere and everywhere. So, that kind of control, do you really want that in the federal government's hands? I'm sorry, I don't. That's not something I want them to see. I don't want them to know what type of coffee I had this morning, or
I don't. Yeah, and then they talked about monetary policy being immediately implemented.
Yeah.
I mean, their monetary policy is disastrous.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like nobody looks at the way that the Fed handles our economy and thinks they're doing a great job. Unless you're a Keynesian, and then you know that's synonymous with moron.
Yeah.
So for them to be, I mean, just think about like now they implement a policy, and in many cases it's a little while before we start to see the effects trickle in.
Yes.
Imagine, and imagine they make a huge mistake, just a disastrous policy, and it just happens immediately.
Yep.
Or let's say that they make a programming error that just screws everything up like that.
Move a
The government doesn't make errors, you know.
No, they never make errors.
I mean, the Obamacare marketplace is a work of art, all right? And it only took hundreds of millions of dollars to make a website for commerce. Yeah. Was it $700 million? $700 million?
$100 million. Prior to Obamacare, the most expensive website ever designed, Instagram. Instagram. $230 million to get Instagram off the ground and going. This beat it by what? 3 times? And
yeah, just about.
A dismal failure from day one. It crashed on day one within 30 minutes because the servers aren't working. You spent $700 million.
You didn't have the server capacity
and
for all the people that you wanted to put on the system. Genius.
Instagram for $230 million was able to support 10 times the users that Obamacare did on day one.
Yep.
Where did that money go? Because it didn't go into the website.
No, it did not. Oh man, yeah. This is going to be a crap show.
Oh,
and frankly, this is, I mean, you might think we're crazy Christian kooks, but this is Mark of the Beast territory.
Oh yeah.
And like, you know, it may not be a mark, like the Bible says that it's going to be a mark on our hand or our forehead. You know, and people say that could be an RFID chip. It very reasonably could. You know, I'm not trying to speculate on what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know,
Barcode.
just
or
look
QR
for the
code.
signs. You know, just look for the signs, a QR code, whatever. Just look
Yeah.
for the signs. But what goes along with that mark is that you can't buy or sell without it.
Yes.
All right. This is a digital currency which could easily be turned into a world currency,
Yes. And I think that
global
would probably
currency.
be the most likely next step would be okay, well, we're all just operating under the US dollar anyways. Let's make it universal.
Mm-hmm.
And as countries jump on board and more of them switch their currency, which would be extremely easy in a digital world versus a paper world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
And
you'll see
so
it.
then they control you if you and you couple that with like China's social credit score,
Oh
you know,
gosh.
which they're
Yeah.
already kind of implementing. I mean, if that isn't what Facebook and Google and you know and Twitter are doing, you know,
I don't know.
when they're censoring and shutting down accounts of people on their social media sites. Say that again?
Shadow banning.
Shadow banning. I mean, they're essentially, without it being a public score, they're essentially doing the work of a social credit score.
Yes.
And when you become persona non grata, then you can't buy or sell anymore. Sorry.
Or you get taxed more.
You shouldn't have defied the central banks. You shouldn't have defied the globalists.
So they'll tax you more because then they can control. Okay, well you have this amount of money, but because you said this and this, you now have to pay these penalties on top of to get these normal things that you normally would. So
Well, and you had talked about
gallon.
we talked about how they can program what you can or cannot buy, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't
Yep.
talk about that they can, if you don't use the money in a certain amount of time, they can just make it disappear.
Gone by a certain date and time.
It's like, why are you trying to hold on to cash? What are you preparing for? Maybe some kind of illegal activity, or something like that.
What do you
No, we're gonna
You don't need
to go ahead and put a time limit on that. Thank you.
Yeah. So that $1,000 of $1,400 that you got from the government, okay, you can have that, but in 12 months it's going to go away. You need to use all of that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be underneath the money that you already have. So you need to use this money first, then you can get to this money. But if you don't, that money's gone.
Okay, well, then I'll invest in the stock market. Oh, no, it's not to be used for that purpose. Okay, then I'll buy a gun.
Yeah,
what are you trying to get? You want to go to jail? You know?
right?
This is as dystopian as it gets. And then
Real scary, real quick.
there was one more thought that I wanted to put out there.
You had mentioned that the Fed doesn't have the ability to do this without the say of Congress. Well, according to the president, Mr. Joe Biden, the Fed has every right to make $1 trillion coin.
Yeah, exactly. We did that episode last week.
Correct.
They can mint a coin. All they have to do is call it minting.
Yeah. If they can mint a coin, why can't they mint a digital dollar?
Nobody the minting, the law that allows them to mint $1 trillion coin doesn't say what it has to be made. No, actually it does. It has to be a platinum coin. That specific law. So
Okay.
okay. So it has to be made of platinum. So there we might be conflating things, but
Still, it's not going to be worth $1 trillion.
the question is, especially with the Democrats in office, would it really be that hard for them to get a congressional approval?
No.
Especially as the economy is faltering and the dollar is dying and a digital currency seems to be the only way to go. It just seems to be the only way to go. I mean, China has overtaken our oil. China is becoming the reserve currency, you know, and they already have a digital currency, so they're ahead of us on that. You know, this just seems to be the only way we can make it happen.
We must do it. We
must do it. For the and then Republicans and Democrats come together in a show of bipartisanship and say, for the American people, we have to do this. We have to further centralize our power, and really not our power, but further centralize the power of the Fed, a central bank that is kind of beholden to the government, but not really. And
when was the last time they were audited? Oh yeah, they've never been audited in the last 20 years.
Interesting.
That's a lot of oversight there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this fills my heart with all kinds of glee. I'm not a financial advisor. Invest in Bitcoin.
I'm not a financial advisor either. Invest in something.
Yeah. You know, is it possible for Bitcoin to be usurped? Yes. Is it possible for it to be torn down? Yes. I think those possibilities are very low for a number of reasons. But, you know, as this ramps up and our freedoms get taken away, they can easily outlaw the use of Bitcoin. And then if they find out that you've been using it, you know, I mean, all they have to do is look at you. Well, we're looking at our ledger and you don't have any money. How do you live the way that you live? You must be using illegal cryptocurrencies. I mean,
you're using cash.
This is not outside. This is not outside the realm of reason. All right?
Yeah.
We need to be awake now, and we need to be preparing, and we need to be fighting against. We do not want the Fed to make a digital currency. We don't want the Fed to exist.
Ideally, no.
The Fed needs to die.
Yeah.
It needs to be riddled with bullets. You know?
I'm not against the Fed existing. I don't want the Fed existing in the way it has.
I'm against the Fed existing at all. There should be no central bank. I am against central banking. I'm against giant conglomerate banks because they don't care about us either. You know? Do your banking in a local or bank or credit union.
Yes.
And credit unions are the best because they're not for profit. Everything that they make extra goes back into the bank. You know, back into services and whatnot, you know. I mean, it's still not ideal. You know, Bitcoin offers you real power over your money. You know?
True. And growth.
Yeah. And it's out of the reach of these fat cats and tyrants. The only thing about Bitcoin is that it's still very, very public. There's no real anonymity there. And so that's a problem. But it's a problem that they're actually working on. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for too much longer. And
No.
they're building the Lightning Network on top of it to make it faster too. And then don't even get me started on the energy so-called problem. That's garbage. We've talked about this too. The energy problem with Bitcoin is not real because it incentivizes reduction of energy use. So it will continuously grow and then seek out strategies to lower energy consumption because that's how you make profit.
Yes.
Not hard. It's not hard. Just use your freaking brain. Anyway.
Nuclear has come so far, and the fact that they've found out ways to recycle the nuclear waste. But
I heard about a technology that could turn it into batteries that would last, a lifetime.
Yes.
So, I mean,
nuclear energy that's zero waste, it's very possible today.
Yeah, the technology is here, but they don't want you to use it because it frees you.
Yes.
These things free you from their freaking control.
Oh yeah.
Free yourself, free your mind, free your wealth. Let's get out of this system and control our own lives. And let's fight for it and fight for others to do the same.
It comes down to, do you have the liberty to live?
Yeah. Do you own your body? Do you own your property? Do you own yourself? Do you have rights? The answer is yes. And they come from God. And these petty tyrants, these freaking children with their play toys, have no say over that.
Mm-hmm.
They can cram it with walnuts.
And with that,
you've been watching Plausible Foolishness, home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free. The taxes are voluntary. And we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/plausiblepoolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, anywhere you can get a podcast, Instagram, minds.com, and Rumble. Peace out.
Yeah. It's gonna be legendary right here, man.
Let's get it.
Word. My people perish for the lack of knowledge.
I'm just here to bring the facts. I'm not worried about your feelings. It's the way that y'all react. It goes way beyond the killings. Y'all can focus on the bad while I keep being the realest. Got me looking at the stats, trying to find out what the deal is. Take a look at DOJ, murder rate and what they say. 52% on homicides, like we ain't taking vacay. That is sad. I don't get it. Then you blame it on your payment. No, it's not. You just ignorant. You the problem. Just admit it. Tired of us going through this cycle. Blaming others means you in denial. Situations getting dire, this is vital. So it's time for us to crack open the Bible and get back to the truth.
Yeah, I know you ain't gonna like it. Yeah, I know you ain't gonna like it.
Some of you ain't got a clue.
Heaven knows that I'm fighting. Heaven knows that I'm fighting.
Get them back to the truth.
A black liberal ain't nothing but a house Negro. I said it. I just said it. Drop the bomb. Boom. A black liberal ain't nothing but a house Negro.
See that nonsense stretching, venom in her comment